Welcome to the American Red Cross Northern California Coastal Region Speaker Series session. We will begin the program momentarily. Welcome and thank you for joining the American Red Cross Northern California Coastal Region Speaker Series session. My name is Veronica Oberholzer, and I am the Development Operations Manager for this region. We are thrilled to have you join today's conversation and hope you will leave more informed and inspired about the work of the Red Cross. Today's session is being recorded, and you are in listen-only mode so we can give our full attention to today's speakers. If you have any questions or comments throughout the session, feel free to submit them in the Q&A box where I will review and compile them. We will try to get to as many of them as possible during our question and answer session towards the end of the program. The remaining questions will be answered in a follow-up email, along with a recording and a survey. Today, you will hear from outstanding guest speakers who will tell us about the intricate web of services provided by the Red Cross Service to the Armed Forces team, spanning from crisis counseling to vital social services, all aimed at assisting active duty service members, veterans, and their families during challenging times. With that, I'm honored to introduce our first speaker, Hannah Malik. We welcomed Hannah as Regional CEO of the Northern California Coastal Region in July 2022. Hannah leads a team of more than 7,000 volunteers and 75 employees to provide Red Cross programs and services to more than 10 million residents across 15 counties throughout our 5 chapters. Hannah brings more than a decade of leadership to his role, and most recently served as the Regional Donor Services Executive for the Western New York Blood Services region. He has deployed to multiple disaster response operations, including California wildfires, and is a committed blood donor with more than 100 donations to date. Thank you and welcome, Hannah.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Like Veronica said, my name is Hannah Malik, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the regional CEO. And with my over decade of service to the Red Cross, the one thing that's been consistent from the West Coast to the East Coast is the dedication and compassion that we have from our volunteers, from our donors, our partners, and our staff who allow the Red Cross mission to happen. Thought I'd talk briefly about our different lines of service and end with our service to the armed forces, because that's today's topic. First is blood services, a line of service that's very near and dear to my heart, because my older brother Charlie had leukemia and received multiple blood transfusions when he was going through treatment. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood, and 1 out of 4 people will need blood at one point in their life. That could be a baby at birth, a mother giving birth, an innocent person in a car accident, sickle cell patient, cancer patient. The need for blood is real and it's constant, and we only get it from volunteer blood donors such as yourselves. There's no ways to make it or manufacture it. Our next line of service is training services. We work to teach life-saving skills through CPR, first aid. We teach people how to use AEDs and how to swim safely, and allowing them to use those skills, those life-saving skills, should they need it. Next is our disaster relief. A lot of people think of the Red Cross and disasters with the big ones like the Maui wildfires and hurricanes and floods, and those are true. But we also respond to local home fires as well. The fire department puts a fire out, and the Red Cross volunteers meet clients, give them some financial assistance, and start them on their long road to recovery. We deploy volunteers throughout the country to help our neighbors in other states, and we have had many disasters here due to the climate crisis that we're seeing across the world. Next is our international services. We partner with different Red Cross and Red Crescent societies all across the world. We all have different missions, but have the same fundamental principles, and make sure we're providing humanitarian work all across the world. And last but not least is our service to the armed forces, our guest topic today, and something that I just continue to be in awe in the work that we do here at the Red Cross. Locally, we have service members who enlist and they go to the MEP station, the Military Entrance Processing Station outside of Moffett Field, and they sign a contact card, and we help them through their whole entire life cycle. We help their family members, their children. We do things like emergency communication and so much more, and we're going to hear so much more about it. So just to wrap up with our quick review of our different lines of service, we are a 140-year-old organization. We continue to adapt with the times and the changing needs, and that's because of the power of our volunteers, the generosity of our donors, and just excited to welcome the topic today. So Veronica, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Hannah. I'd now like to introduce you to Jason Brandt, Division Director for Service to the Armed Forces and International Services at the American Red Cross. Commander Jason Brandt, United States Coast Guard, retired, previously served as the American Red Cross Southern California and Northwest Interim Region Director of Service to the Armed Forces and International Services. Jason retired in October 2021 with 22 years of service as the District 14 Chief of Enforcement, responsible for Coast Guard law enforcement operations throughout the Pacific area. Jason continued his Red Cross journey when he became the Pacific Division Director of Service to the Armed Forces last year. Jason's passion is to inspire and impact as many people in the community as possible through his role with the American Red Cross. He resides in Cardiff, California, with his amazing wife, Barbie, and two beautiful daughters, Casey and Blakely. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Veronica. As Veronica mentioned, my name is Jason Brand. I'm the Pacific Division Director for Services to Armed Forces and International Services. In this role, I oversee the Service to Armed Forces program for all the states and territories that touch the Pacific Ocean, plus Idaho and Montana. I'm truly honored to join this gold standard of guest speaker series. So I wanted to thank Leanne and Hannah for putting this on, and Brianna for organizing this amazing event. I also wanted to share that you have in this region an amazing Service to the Armed Forces regional director named Nikki Rowe and a specialist named Ariel Chin, who will be deploying for 6 months to support the troops overseas in a few weeks. Next. And since I likely don't know many of you, I wanted to just share a couple pictures of my background with the military. I grew up in Arvin, California, which is a small agricultural town south of Bakersfield, California, in the valley. And I had the amazing opportunity to be able to serve for the United States Coast Guard. And I wanted to share a couple of pictures that I dug up of my time with the Coast Guard's Deployable Specialized Forces team. This was during the period of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom. The picture to the top left is of me preparing to deploy with the Expeditionary Combat Skills School. The top right picture is my team on a destroyer getting ready to embark a small rigid hull inflatable boat to conduct boardings of all the vessels that departed the Qasr River in Iraq. And in between our deployments to Iraq, we did counter narcotics patrol. And this is an example of one of our seizures. This is 10 tons of cocaine that we seized down off of South America. And what I also wanted to share is one of the sacrifices that we make in the military are real, because you never know when you deploy if you're going to make it home. So this picture to the left, I always like to remember my friend DC-3 Nathan Bruckenthal, who was on a team similar to mine and relieved us in Iraq. And he was conducting the same mission, and as a Iraqi dhow fishing vessel was approaching one of the offshore oil platforms, his team intercepted the vessel and prevented it from blowing up the offshore oil platform, but when they intercepted it, they detonated early and killed Nathan Birkenthal and 2 Navy sailors. And Nathan left behind a wife and an unborn child. So I just wanted to share his story and remember him and honor him. And this is why it's such a privilege to serve with the Red Cross now that the military has given me so much. And I know the sacrifices that the military, the veterans, and their families make. So I just absolutely love my job to give back to this community and provide any comfort we can. This is our Red Cross mission, Services to Armed Forces mission. The Red Cross helps military service members, veterans, and their families prepare for, cope with, and respond to the challenges of military service. The way I interpret this is through the amazing spirit of our founder, Clara Barton, who is known as the angel of the battlefield and who said, "You must never think of anything except the need and how to fill it." I see the same spirit in our mission and our passion and our volunteers and staff, and it's an important theme as I tell you the Services to Armed Forces story. I think it's unique that we have a unique relationship with the federal government. We're an independent entity that is organized and exists as a nonprofit, tax-exempt charitable institution pursuant to a charter granted us by the United States Congress. We have the legal status of a federal instrumentality due to our charter requirements to carry out responsibilities delegated to us by the federal government. Among these responsibilities are to fulfill the provision of the Geneva Convention, to which the United States is a signatory, for the protection of victims of conflict, to provide family communications and other forms of support to the U.S. military, and to maintain a system of domestic and international disaster relief. As Hannah mentioned in his speech, the American Red Cross is the only organization uniquely positioned, scaled, and capable to serve the military members throughout their life's journey from the day they take the oath at MEPS to protect and defend until they become a veteran who may be needing of care. I wanted to just do a little bit of a deep dive of our core services. The first one is emergency communications. The Red Cross has been serving the military for more than 140 years, deployed alongside the U.S. military in every conflict since the Spanish-American War, and every day the American Red Cross provides 24/7 global emergency communication services and other support in military and veteran healthcare facilities across the country and the world. The Red Cross provides in-person support for troops on all military installations in the U.S. and on more than 35 overseas installations, including the Far East, Middle East, and Europe. Serving military and VA medical facilities, we have professionals in our military treatment facilities, which provide critical capacity building. For example, the San Diego Naval Medical Center recently told me that our volunteers in their hospital saved them over $1 million a year so that they can have more programs and better service their community. Also, when the USNS Mercy, a 1,000-bed hospital ship, deploys, a large number of the San Diego Naval Medical Hospital staff are tapped to deploy with the Mercy, and the Red Cross volunteers provide critical backfill. Resiliency. Whether your family is facing its first deployment or the next of many, the American Red Cross has developed workshops, information, and support services to help with the practical and emotional challenges that they face. Through our Get to Know Us Before You Need Us program, we meet with enlistees and their families to share how our services can help them before, during, and after deployment and military career. And then referrals to community resources. The American Red Cross offers confidential services to all veterans and their families by connecting them with local, state, and national resources through our network of chapters and communities across the United States. And the last one is volunteer engagement. 90% of our workforce are volunteers. As our president of humanitarian services, Trevor Regan, recently stated, this quote really stuck with me. And our job as a staff is to help people who like to help people. Our volunteers are passionate about helping people, so our job is helping people who help people. And when you really think about it, that's what we do, and that's what our volunteers do. And so that's what I see my role is to helping those who want to help people and try to coach them and mentor them and have the biggest impact as I can. Next slide. I wanted to just show a couple examples of the things that we do to meet the need that are within the core services that I talked about. This is an example of our animal visitation program. The Red Cross dogs use their training and calming presence to help and heal. I really like a quote from one of our program handlers. I continue to be amazed by the number of people who call out to our dog, Jasper. How are you doing, big guy? Nearly all passersby smile down at Jasper. Children squeal with glee and hug Jasper's neck, and frequently patients on our medical staff will say, Jasper, how did you know I needed to see you today? Wherever they go, the Red Cross dogs turn heads and people can't help but smile. Many people don't even realize the impact that animal therapy can have on their staff or patients. But the effect is immense, and just like Jasper and his military patients have discovered, their outward wounds may be permanent, but the road to recovery is helping along the way by those who care. Another program that I really love, and probably is one of some of the best days I've had in the Red Cross, is delivering Hug a Hero dolls to children. I took some of these pictures of the dolls with the kids, and one of the quotes that they quoted me on in an article was, deploying and being separated from your family for 6 months or more is one of the greatest sacrifices made. And these dolls with photos allow the children to hold and hug their moms and dads while they're away, which comforts them during these difficult times of their lives. This is a pilot program that we started in the Southern California region, and we're hoping to expand it to other regions as well. Another amazing program that we support in the communities are the Veteran Homeless Stand Downs. These are designed to guide homeless veterans and those at risk of homelessness to the services that rapidly remove barriers caused by medical, legal, mental health, and substance use concerns. In this last slide, I just kind of wanted to show the overall impact that services the armed forces have in our communities across the country. These are a few examples of the stats from fiscal year 2023. And what really is important to understand is that behind every single one of these numbers is an interaction, a positive, meaningful interaction with a service member, veteran, or their families. We don't just dump off a bunch of items to a hospital. We have an individual interaction with each one of these people to help them and tell them about our resources and lift them up. And so with that, that's the Red Cross Service to the Armed Forces story, and I'm so honored to be able to tell it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for sharing. A lot of great work is being done. I know our audience may have a few questions for Jason, so just a friendly reminder to submit any questions you may have for any of our speakers in the Q&A feature. We will get through as many as we can towards the end of the program. With that, it is my honor to introduce you to our Mission Moment speaker today, Roxanne Anderson. Roxanne is an Army veteran, a retired highway patrol officer, and currently volunteers as a steering committee member for her neighborhood community emergency response team, PGA Hope, or Helping Our Patriots Everywhere Through Golf, and the American Red Cross. Her studies in sociology and psychology, her 6 years in the military, and her 29 years in law enforcement developed a framework and revealed in her a desire for humanitarian service. Roxanne has been a volunteer with the Red Cross for 14 years and has held a wide range of roles. She has been deployed to mass casualty events and natural disasters such as floods, hurricanes, and wildfires over 35 times. During these deployments, she usually carries out the activities of feeding, supply and procurement, and life safety asset protection or transportation. Roxanne has responded to disaster action team calls, has been active with Sound the Alarm events, and is adding to her Red Cross training and experience by joining service to the armed forces. Roxanne will liaise with Fisher House, which builds comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay free of charge while a loved one is in the hospital. Roxanne will organize dinners once a month, providing a break and friendly conversation for clients. Please help me welcome Roxanne.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. As mentioned, my name is Roxanne Anderson, and to share a little bit about myself, I have been a volunteer with the American Red Cross Silicon Valley chapter for a little over 14 years now. I am a wife of 33 years, a mother and a grandmother to 2 granddaughters. I served in the Army for 6 years, and I retired from the California Highway Patrol after 29 years. I was attracted to the military by the then, as you can probably tell, fun, adventure, and travel back in the 1980s. But that campaign advertising is what led to my enlistment. My basic training was in Fort Gordon, Georgia, and permanent duty stations included Frankfurt and Hanau, Germany, where I operated a rat rig, which is a communication platform that rests on the back of a military-style pickup truck. And then that's where I sent and I received Morse code as a radio teletype operator. After leaving the military, I became an officer and I retired. And soon after is when I began volunteering with the Red Cross. Over the years, I have been kept very busy responding to disasters. I've responded to over 35 disasters, such as the wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, and other incidents. Each workday on a deployment averages about 12 hours. And when a volunteer does deploy, there's a 2-week commitment, sometimes 3 or more, like my deployments to the Virgin Islands and Guam. I now share my time volunteering with the Service to the Armed Forces, and I'd like to share with you what the Red Cross in our region does to support these military members. During fiscal year 2024, volunteer SAF caseworkers in the Northern California coastal region supported 956 emergency cases for military service members and their families. In-person support is also provided not only for the troops within our region, but on more than 35 overseas installations and on all military installations in the United States. In addition, Red Cross volunteers serve in VA and military hospitals across the nation and around the world, and through a worldwide network of volunteers, over 540,000 services have been provided to service members, veterans, and their families. For the men and women who have served their country and are now receiving care in VA medical centers and military hospitals, there are also volunteers and many veterans and their families who play a crucial role in providing the essential support that's needed through rehabilitation, recreation, and personal services. I began volunteering with the SAF after a tabling event. It was a first ever Women's Veterans Carnival that was being held at the VA in Menlo Park. And as the SAF volunteers conducted resiliency workshops, hands-only CPR sessions, and delivered Be Red Cross Ready presentations, I was busy interacting with the other attendees and women of the armed forces. It was during a conversation, I don't quite remember what the topic was, but one of the women made a comment. She stated, you're a veteran too. And I had to stop and think about what she had just said. And after a moment, it clicked. I never thought of myself as being a veteran. I was in the Army, but I considered veterans as those who were involved in a campaign or retired after 20 plus years. Once again, I was in the military, but that wasn't me. I'll tell you, that was a true aha moment for me. And those few words changed my perspective. A few months later, I joined SAF. I am now a VA service program volunteer at the VA of Palo Alto, and my role is to provide meals. And I like to refer to them as comfort meals. Once a month, I'm going to provide meals to the clients of Fisher House. Fisher House is a program that offers lodging at no cost for the families or caregivers of veterans and active duty members while their family member receives care at a nearby VA or military hospital. And this suits me because I've always felt the kitchen is where the heart is. It's where you're going to find most people during family gatherings or parties, right? Laughing and sharing stories. Well, my goal is to use these meals as a means to provide a comfort, a distraction, or just a way to uplift spirits. The service will be useful. I feel it would be a good way of guiding perspectives through cheerful conversations, small acts of kindness, whether they're spoken or unspoken. I'd like to finish by saying that through my experiences, I have learned over the years that service can mean many things. To name a few, my military service, public service as an officer, and now my volunteer service. The Red Cross, its programs and services allow me to continue with my life of service, encouraging and supporting those that I interact with. It's not always easy, but it is rewarding.
Thank you, Roxanne, for sharing your incredible story and experience. We thank you for your service and all that you continue to do in support of our military members. And thank you once again to all of our speakers for providing such valuable information. We've had a lot of great questions come in that we will jump right into. This first question is for Hannah. How can individuals and communities best support the Red Cross mission to serve the armed forces?
I love this question. We see the best of humanity and folks always wanting to help people do so in so many different ways, and we just appreciate the support. Folks can continue to make financial donations to our work for service to the armed forces, sign up to be a volunteer, help us at Fisher House at the meals that we're doing. Folks can go to redcross.org/volunteer to get started with that and help spread the word. If you learned something new today, let your family, let your friends know about it. It's a great way to get involved.
Thank you, Hannah. This next question is also for you. Oftentimes, blood services and disaster services become the forefront of regions and service delivery. How do you, as regional executive, ensure your region puts the spotlight on service to the armed forces?
And we do a lot of great work. There's lots of different lines of service, and reminding folks this is how we were founded as an organization 143 years ago. Our local director, Nikki Rowe, does a fantastic job keeping our leadership team up to speed. We get a monthly update with all the critical work. I continue to be a student of the Red Cross and like to learn new things. One of our amazing volunteers, Peggy, gave me a tour of the local VA. One of our other local volunteers, Liz, took me to the MEP station to do a tour and get to meet the commander there. So it's something that's definitely very important to us, something that we keep at the forefront, and just any opportunity I can to share the message about the great work we're doing, I definitely take advantage of that.
Thank you. This next question is for Roxanne. Can you share a specific experience or story from your volunteer work that has had a profound impact on you?
I can, and what immediately comes to mind is a young girl in Missouri. It was during a deployment to the Missouri floods during 2011. I was on a mobile feeding route, and as you get to know the clients on the route, you become very familiar with their situations. There was a family of 8 on our route with 6 kids aged 14 to maybe 3. And one day the oldest girl from the family came by with a friend to pick up their meals. And I just casually asked, because I knew her, why she and her friend weren't in school. It was during the weekday. And she casually replied, excuse me, that no one around here goes to school. The response was very concerning to me. And I began to think over and over again, what can I do? What can I do? When I deploy, I often carry my flat badge with me, and it contains inspirational scriptures. And I called the girl over, hey, come over here. And I could see her friend just watching, seeing what was going on. And I showed her my badge. And I asked her if she thought I was, or if she could ever be a police officer. And she shook her head no. And I told her that she could do and be whatever she wanted to, but it was important that she had education as a foundation. Then I told her that I had something for her, and I went inside of my flatbed where I had the scriptures, and I pulled out the one, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I read it to her. I explained what it meant, and I encouraged her to use it for inspiration. The next day, she didn't show up. I was concerned, but I was later informed that she had decided to go back to school. 2 days later, she returned, and I was all smiles, but during our conversation, she related that it was too much for her and she couldn't do it. Nonetheless, I praised her for trying, and I encouraged her to keep trying. And to this day, as you can tell, I still think about her.
That is a powerful story. Thank you, Roxanne. This next question is for Jason. What role does technology play in improving the delivery of Red Cross services to military communities?
Thank you. This is a great question, and the things that come to mind is we just recently went through a significant upgrade in our Hero Care case management system. We have the latest and best technology in the version for this system, and it's so user friendly, so we can be much more effective in our service delivery to our customers who need help. We also were working. We talked a couple times about our military entrance processing station. We're kind of combining our technologies to also support our sustainability efforts. Currently, we use these cards that every service member that enlists has to fill out with their emergency contact information and some other information like emails and phone numbers. And I was told that with all the cards that we use for these military interest processing stations, it equates to about 6 tons of paper. So we have an effort to go paperless at our MEPS by using QR codes and more online technology. We also have a Hero Care app. So if you're interested in learning more about services to armed forces, or an easy way to start an emergency communication is to download our American Red Cross Hero Care app.
Thank you, Jason. This next question is for Hannah. What are some upcoming service to the armed forces initiatives or programs within the Red Cross that you are excited about?
Yeah, I'm really excited to have the dinners at the Fisher House going on again. Appreciate Roxanne's leadership in facilitating that. We're really excited to be back there. The pandemic closed a lot of things, so we're excited to see programs like that come back. Also, with us moving into the summer months and warmer weather, we're going to be going to a lot of stand downs where we pass out supplies and free items to homeless veterans, and just really excited that we're able to do that, and we're doing that all across the region.
Thank you, Hannah. Roxanne, what are you looking forward to with the monthly Red Cross dinners at Fisher House?
Well, I'm not only looking forward to providing meals, but also learning more about the resources and the services that are available so that I can share that as well with the residents. And although I won't see it, I'm looking forward to providing the military members who are receiving care a sense of relief by knowing that their family members or caregivers are also being taken care of. But what I look forward to most is seeing the Fisher House residents fully present in the moment, smiling, laughing, and sharing stories as they enjoy the aroma and the taste of the good food.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roxanne. This next question is for Jason. How does the Red Cross collaborate with other organizations and government agencies to enhance support for veterans and active duty service members?
This is another great question, and it's something that I'm really proud of our organization. There's like I mentioned in the very beginning, we just look for a need and try to fill it. So we understand that part of that is to leverage all the other organizations so that we can provide the best support for our communities. Some of those ways are just recently in California, we met with the Adjutant General, which is the Major General who's in charge of all the National Guard in California. And through that relationship at the top, we're able to find out what needs they have in the National Guard throughout California and fill those. So that's one example. Another one is just through a lot of collaboratives. A lot of counties have military and veteran collaboratives, and we try to attend those meetings to learn what the community needs and how we can fill those gaps. We've also been working with Cohen clinics. So Stephen A. Cohen identified a need for mental health treatment outside the military kind of realm. And so he funded Cohen clinics throughout the country, and we've been working with them to help provide mental health support to our military and veteran communities. There's 20 large VAs in our Pacific Division, and we support all of those through active participation and monthly and quarterly calls to understand the needs that we can support the VA hospitals. And then at the national level, our Services to Armed Forces Vice President, Michael Jordan, who has spoken at this event before, is a Gold Star father, and he has a national relationship with the Tragedy Assistance Program, the TAPS program, for Gold Star families. And so we're looking for more ways to figure out how we can support their efforts as well. And one last item at the more of the tactical level, we have a Hero Care network that we keep updated, and it's a directory of all the resources that our case workers can utilize to make sure that all of our clients are connected with the best resources to support their need and get them back on their feet. I think that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason, and thank you to our audience for all of the wonderful questions today. We have no further questions, so I'd like to have Hannah wrap up today's session with a few closing remarks.
Awesome. Thank you, Veronica. As I wrap up, I just want to end with a really big thank you to everybody. Your help allows us to save lives every single day. Whether you're new to the Red Cross or you've been supporting us for decades, we truly appreciate your continued support. I want to thank Jason and Roxanne for being awesome speakers today and inspiring us and teaching us so many new things. We're going to send out an email, so be on the lookout for it with the link to the recording. If you didn't get your questions answered, let us know. We'd be happy to get that to you. And I'm going to leave you with some homework. You didn't think you were going to have homework. Take something that you learned and share it with family members, with friends. Download our emergency app. Take a CPR class. Get involved with our Red Cross mission even further. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Take care.